Considered how elitist that is?
It's not stupid.
That is elitism up the wazoo. It's elitism.
It's forced down your throat.
There is no African today that I know of who had Jesus forced down their throat. I got a lot of African friends. I pastor a church. We got a lot of people from Ghana in the church. And I can promise you, not one of them had Jesus Christ slammed down their throat. Not one. These are doctors and lawyers and business people. These are incredibly well-educated people from Ghana, Africa. And they believe in Jesus because the evidence is Christ is reliable. Not because they had some white missionary come and jam Jesus down their throat. And it is so elitist for anthropology professors on this campus or other campuses to portray Africans, those dumb nitwit Africans. They believe in Jesus because they had Jesus slammed down their throat by some colonialist. That is so elitist and biased. It's pathetic.
So you don't think there's any correlation between colonized populations and their beliefs coinciding with the beliefs of the colonizer?
I can promise you, a lot of white missionaries did tell Africans about Jesus. That is correct. And those Africans responded in faith. But those same Africans that accepted Christ reject American materialism, American secularism, because they know the spiritual is real, and they know that America and the West is spiritually bankrupt. So my African brothers and sisters have had the open-mindedness to accept Jesus Christ and to reject American materialism. Bravo, Africa. Don't lose it.
She was thinking that because of bunch of white nationalists, I just said bunch of white nationalists push Christianity down your throat.
Christianity was in Africa before Europe.
Whoa. Did you hear that? Christianity was in Africa before Europe. Yeah, like Ethiopia. Go ahead. Keep going, brother.
The Ethiopian Bible is older than the King James
And thank
Bible.
you. That's exactly right.
The argument that Christianity brought, that colonialism brought Christianity to Africa is completely wrong.
Why is it completely wrong?
Because Christianity was already in Africa before Europe.
Christianity was in Africa before Europe. Everybody hear that?
And one thing you need to know is that Christianity is not a European religion.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. One more time. Real loud.
Christianity is not a European religion.
Man, you're awesome. Christianity is not a white European faith religion. Keep going, brother. I like
So
you.
Jesus wasn't white. like
Jesus
you.
was not white. Keep going.
So he looked more like, the Jews. He was a Jewish man, right? So he was kind of brown. And even though, the Europeans brought European culture to Africa, for example, I'm from Nigeria, right? So the missionaries came to Nigeria and they set up schools and all that. So one thing you need to ask yourself is, why did the people there choose to accept this religion? And one of the reasons why they chose to accept this religion was that some of the values being propagated by this religion already aligned with their values. So, for example, the Igbo people we call, they had names that they would call God, right? The Yorubas, they had names that they would call God. So they had a framework for these things already, right? So the Europeans came in and they brought the Christian religion, and immediately these people accepted it. Now, the missionaries came before the colonial masters came. So it was after the missionaries came in and they set up schools and missions and all those things that, British started the colonial endeavor in Africa. So Christianity already had a strong foundation in Africa, even before the British came in with colonialism, the French came in with assimilation, and the British came in with the principle of association. So these people already had a foundation for the idea that there is God. And some we call God Olorun, some, like where I'm from, they call God Ogene, right? So these people, the missionaries came in and they said, okay, this is Jesus that you're talking about. So I can stay, I have class in a few minutes, I can stay and give you like historical facts about, how these people already had an idea of who Jesus is. And the Europeans came in and they just, put more structure into the understanding that they already have.
I know that Nigeria was colonized by England,
Yeah.
and that the north of Nigeria is mostly Muslim,
Yeah.
and that the south is the
Mostly
south
Christian.
where the ports were,
Yeah.
where the English came,
Yeah.
is mostly Christian.
Yeah.
So, do you think that that is a coincidence?
No, that is not a coincidence. So what the Muslims do is they go to a region and they force the people to accept their faith. So if you don't accept, they kill you. So he carried out that jihad from the north. He conquered several territories, and then he was coming toward the south. So it was there's the I don't know if you've heard of the Benin Kingdom. The Benin Kingdom. It was the army of the Benin Kingdom in Auchi, Edo State, that stopped the advance. So that is why some parts of Auchi in Edo State, Nigeria, they are Muslims, because that was where the jihad stopped. So the reason most of those places are Muslim places today is because there was a Muslim army that carried out a jihad. And it's, even some of the Muslim regions today in Europe, it was basically the same reason. They carry out what they call holy war, and they take it to different territories. If you don't accept the faith, you are slaughtered. So that is how they set up those Muslim empires in different parts of Nigeria.
Do you know how far back Christianity or Islam or anything dates in Africa, or was it there prehistorically, or did it come mostly from the Middle East?
If you look at places like Ethiopia and Egypt, Christianity was already there early, pretty early, right? So, like I said, it was there even before Europe. But if you look at Ethiopia had this kind of relationship with Israel. So there were also Jews in Ethiopia. So they already had a foundation for the Christian faith, right? So looking at Islam, I may not be completely right about this, but most of the spread of Islam in Africa, even in Egypt, was due to jihad. But I know about Nigeria, the spread of Islam in Nigeria is due to jihad. But I'm not so sure about some of the northern African countries that are Muslim. But I know in Egypt, it's due to jihad, carrying out holy war in Algeria. Because Algeria had a very strong Christian community, even before the Muslims came in. I think it was St. Augustine was moving through, Algeria and those northern African countries, even before the Muslims came in. They had, there was a Coptic church, they had monasteries in northern Africa, even before the Muslims came in. So the spread of Islam in those parts of Africa was due to a holy war. And that is how the spread. And I believe that is how the spread in a lot of places in Europe as well.
Thank
But one
you.
thing I would let you know is this: Jesus loves you, and it's more than a religion.
That's right.
It's a relationship. See, I grew up in a Christian home, but I didn't know Jesus. I'm a grad student here. It was when I got to university in Nigeria, University of Benin, that I saw people that were on fire for God. That I saw people that were, I encountered Jesus in a personal way. So for me, it's not a religion, it's a relationship. I know him. In 2014, I was so desperate for God. I said, Jesus, if you are real, I want to know you. I know my parents say they are Christians, people say they are Christians, but I want to know you. I locked myself in my room, I prayed, and I said, Jesus, if you are real, I want to encounter you. And I saw him. Like Paul said, he said, I know whom I have believed. He said, I've seen Jesus. I saw him. And when I speak about him, it's not because someone told me about him or I read him somewhere. I encountered him in a personal way. He's more real than the church, than this church that you're putting on. He's alive and he's speaking to your hearts today. So don't hold back. It's not because I'm scared that one day, I don't want to go to hell. I know what he has done for me. John said because he first loved us. So when you know the worth of his love, that God became man, he died for you on the cross, then you can freely now return that love back to him. You cannot know that love unless you first embrace the love that he has loved you with. And Jesus loved you so much. He loves you so much. Don't let the things that is being, there's a lot of things being said in this generation, trying to program the minds of people to rebel against the things of God. And we think we are white. But Jesus loves us so much. And he's calling each and every one of us for a personal relationship with him, to know his voice, to have fellowship with him. And he says, draw near to me and I will draw near to you. So the more you draw to him, the more he'll be drawing to you. And as long as you do that, very soon you'll be swallowed up in life. And like C.T. Studd once said, he said, one life to live, it will soon be past. and only that which is done for Christ will last. So at the end, each and every one of us will stand before this Jesus and will give accounts to him for the way we lived our life on this earth. Your breath is not yours. He gave it to you. He breathed that life into you. And one day you give account to him for the way you spent the breath that he gave to you to walk on this earth.
I'd like to invite you to Grace Community Church, located at 365